Republican Congressman for Tennessee, Tim Burchett. Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. And I'd love first to get your reaction, if I can, to these plummeting stock markets, the numbers that we're seeing here, and the general conversation that's being had around the tariffs.
Well, I think it's to be expected. There's always uneasiness in the market, especially when you have a new president. But I think the reality is, and it will set in very quick, is that uh, this White House is less interested in taking money out of the American taxpayers' pocket and creating more or less a false economy through government spending, which the only way the government gets money is it takes it from me and you, or worse than that, it just prints it. In the past, we've been printing a heck of a lot of money, devaluing our dollars, and now you're seeing some of the repercussions of that. People are really uneasy, but I think it's a good sign. I think you're going to see the real players in this are going to buy in the dips, and that's what they'll be doing. And then in a few days, when it comes back, they'll be sitting pretty. But I think we need to. I'm supportive of this. I think it's a great idea to start buying American-made products. We buy the lumber out of Canada because we've got these environmental rules and regulations on timber in this country. We know if we could cut some of it, we'd probably have less of these crazy forest fires that we're having. And I think it would improve America. I have no problem with that. And I'm sick of every time I turn over an article of clothing and look on the back or look at a computer chip, it says made in China. So I look forward to those things being made, and they can't do it overnight.
And we certainly know that some in the auto industry have really supported this transition, and we know that the president has spoken directly about American lumber and the production that can be done there. But we know that there's also constituents in some areas that are hurting right now, and they're looking to their lawmakers right now for some leadership. I want to ask you about this government shutdown looming here. Do you think you will vote yes on the continuing resolution to avert that shutdown?
Well, honestly, I'm going to pray about it. I expect I'll get a call from the president once he sees this report, but I haven't committed yet. I, in the past, have not voted for CRs, but this is the first time you're seeing anything that is spending less money. And I hear the critics on my side are saying, well, the Doge cuts aren't in there. We're voting for the continuation of all these NGOs and all these people that are just ripping off the American taxpayer, which they are. But as I've talked to the legal experts, you can't put that in this form of legislation. There has to be a bill following that does that. And so I look forward to being an opportunity to voting on those. And I have not yet made up my mind, ma'am. I'm just being perfectly honest with you.
Well, you know, I always appreciate your honesty, and I know that you said you're going to pray about it. Would it be fair to categorize you as a maybe here on this? And if you are a maybe, is there a part of this resolution specifically that you really don't support?
The main part, and thank you for asking that, the main part is there is actually a decrease in funding for the federal government, which I like, but it's an increase for the Pentagon. And, you know, I call them war pimps, and that's what they are every time. You know, they've not passed 8 of their last audits. They're so arrogant they don't even complete it. And how does this brave Congress punish them? By giving them $8 billion new dollars in the last NDAA. That's the National Defense Authorization Act. And so, yeah, and it's in both parties. When Joe Biden gave the Ukraine our missile defense system, we had to immediately replenish ours. And then who owns stock in that missile defense company? Several members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. So, yeah, it cuts both ways. America needs to wake up at what's going on. And I hope in the future, though, the wars aren't like my brave dad and mama. My mama lost her brother fighting the Nazis, flew an airplane during the Second World War. My daddy fought the Japanese in the Pacific. It's not like that anymore. Nobody's going to bomb Pearl Harbor, and then 6 months later, our economic might's going to roll across the Pacific. It's going to be done with drones and those type of things. We need to look at unmanned aircraft. We've got to look towards the future. And the only reason we're making some of these weapon systems, and I've been in the meetings, and they point out, oh, that part's made in your district, that part's made in your district, and that part's made in your district. And the Democrats know that, and the Republicans know that, and they both play that game, and it's wrong for the American taxpayers, and we know better, and we need to start holding these people accountable.
We know the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has talked about lethality being incredibly important within our military. And I know that you are on the House DOJ subcommittee, and you've talked a little bit here about what you view as the misdirected funds, not only in the Pentagon, but the Department of Education here. So as you're moving forward with that, do you agree and do you have confidence that the secretaries should be the ones doing the decision making there, as the president has recently said?
I have complete confidence in Pete Hegseth. I talked to him this weekend, him and the speaker at length. They made time out for me as the 435th most powerful member of Congress. I felt honored that they've had but I realized if they lose 2 or 3 votes, they're not going to pass this dadgum thing. So I realized by being where I am, as conservative as I am, they ought to be concerned. And Hegseth was very forthcoming in his information, and I believe they are looking towards auditing. They're going to audit the Pentagon, and I believe they're going to let DOJ loose on there. And I think America will be horrified at what just like when they get into the Department of Education, of some of the waste and abuse that have gone on there.
Well, I certainly hope that you'll come back on and discuss that with us. And I hope that you'll keep us updated as well, because it sounds like you may be getting a call here from the president so that he can try and secure your vote to get this thing over the finish line. I know that happened to you just a couple of weeks ago as well.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I look forward to talking to him and expressing my concerns, as I did last week in a meeting with him on this very subject. So I will express it some more. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Of course. Thank you, Congressman Burchett. Always welcome on the show. We'll talk soon.